Not universe of Dragon Ball, Bulma may not be the most powerful warrior, but her importance to Goku and the other heroes' journey is undeniable. Since the beginning of the saga, she has played an essential role in uniting the group, providing technology and strategies, and often being the mind behind victories that seem impossible. Just as Bulma plays a crucial role in the story of Dragon Ball, even without being the main fighter, the Bible teaches us that each person has a purpose in God's plan, regardless of the role they perform. When we look at characters like Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan, it's easy to recognize their importance in the plot because of their combat skills. However, without Bulma, many of the challenges they face would not have been overcome. She was the one who created the Dragon Radar, allowing the Dragon Balls to be located and used multiple times. His intelligence and technological resources ensured advances in the fight against powerful enemies, such as Frieza and the androids. This concept reminds us of the passage in 1 Corinthians 12 verses 12 to 27, where the Apostle Paul compares the church to the human body, highlighting that each part has its function. He says, "Thus, the body is not made up of one member, but of many. If the foot says, 'Because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body,' it does not cease to be part of the body. The eye cannot say to the hand, 'I don't need you,' nor can the head say to the feet, 'I don't need you.'" 1 Corinthians 12 verses 14 to 21. Likewise, in the kingdom of God, not everyone will be a pastor, evangelist, or visible leader. Some will have the gift of administration, others of hospitality, others of teaching, or even technology, but all are equally essential to God's work. Bulma is not only a genius scientist, but also a provider for the Z Fighters. She was the one who offered Goku the ship to travel to Namek, developed training suits, and created technological solutions that have saved humanity more than once. His ability to plan and provide is reminiscent of the story of Joseph in Egypt. Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers, but God placed him in a position of influence in Egypt. When a great famine struck the land, he had already stored enough supplies to save not only the Egyptians, but also his own family. Genesis 41. Just as Jose used his intelligence and resources to fulfill God's plan, Bulma uses her knowledge to help her friends achieve victory. How often do we neglect the gifts God has given us because they don't seem spiritual enough? However, even the ability to manage, organize, and create are talents that can glorify God and benefit others. The Bible teaches us that wisdom comes from God. In Proverbs 2 verse 6, we read, "For the Lord gives wisdom, and out of his mouth come knowledge and understanding." Bulma represents the importance of intelligence and science in the universe of Dragon Ball. And this reminds us that God is the creator of knowledge. He gave us the ability to reason, learn, and discover. There is no contradiction between faith and intelligence. In fact, the Bible encourages us to seek wisdom. Daniel, for example, was an extremely intelligent young man and used his knowledge to glorify God while serving in the Babylonian Empire. Daniel 1 verse 17. Like Bulma does in the universe of Dragon Ball, Daniel showed that intelligence and science can be tools in God's hands to fulfill a greater purpose. Bulma begins her journey as a spoiled and selfish young woman, obsessed with finding the Dragon Balls to get a perfect boyfriend. But over time, she matures and starts to care more about the well-being of her friends and humanity. This growth reminds us of the transformation that God brings about in the lives of those who walk with him. The Apostle Paul was a persecutor of Christians, but he became one of the greatest missionaries of the gospel after his encounter with Christ. Acts 9. In the same way, God calls us to grow and mature spiritually, putting aside our selfish interests to serve others. If Bulma had not fulfilled her role, many events in Dragon Ball would have a different outcome. Without the Dragon's radar, life-saving inventions, and strategic intelligence, the hero's journey would be much more difficult. This teaches us that, in the kingdom of God, each of us has a role to play. Some will be like Goku, facing spiritual battles intensely. Others will be like Bulma, providing support, wisdom, and resources. The important thing is to remember that regardless of our role, God put us where we are for a reason. Whatever your gift, use it for the glory of God. Just as Bulma was essential in the saga of Dragon Ball, you are essential in the kingdom of God.